Joining me today is New Hampshire State Senator Jerry Little. So, Jerry, we've been talking a lot about the budget, and I'm going to continue talking about the budget because, you know, it's been 10, 11, 12 years since we've had a veto. We have the continuing resolution. That's 6 months. That gives you all a lot of time to figure out, you know, the lay of the land. But it's based on the previous biennium's budget.
The CR is, yes.
Yeah. So in fact, you know, that was 10.7 billion. The budget that got vetoed was 11.3. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that's not in there.
Yes. That
for 6 months or less, organizations, the agencies are going to have to deal with. Mm-hmm. How fast do you think you guys can pull together a budget, or is this something that's going to wait a bit till you get better numbers? What's going to move the needle?
It's a tough situation. The governor is apparently dug in on the idea of extending expanded Medicaid now in this budget. That's not something we're going to agree to because we don't believe we have the necessary information and data to be able to make that decision. We think we'll be able to gather it.
So that's off the table. That piece.
I think that is off the table.
I heard from Neil Kirk in another interview that was also off the table in the budget.
Yep. And then from the point of the legislature, the slight decreases in business tax rates are non-negotiable as well. That we've already moved on that. The governor came to us and said, I don't like the expense of this. We've got to have a signal from you that you're willing to discuss it. And so instead of implementing those business tax reductions in 2016, we delayed them until 2017. So we've already compromised on that and feel we've done our part to move the discussion forward. So that leaves the state employee pay raise, I think, as the pivot point to get things moving. We've got to figure out where the money's going to come from.
And you said in the first segment that revenues from at least the House budget to when the Senate got a chance to look at it, mm-hmm. were tracking a little bit better. Will that continue, do you think? And is that where we close the gap?
We do see an indication that revenues are getting stronger, which indicates to us that the slight reductions in business tax rates that we've proposed are safe and reasonable. So yeah, I think a little bit more time can result in some enhanced revenue figures.
And you know, the towns that you represent, one of the issues I think that comes up when I talk to people is sort of this notion of downshifting. Is there any real downshifting in this budget?
There is some downshifting in the budget. It's in different sorts of areas. We've increased, we've changed the school funding formula so that school districts will start to see more money. The cap gets increased to 160% this year, and in 18, it's
the cap.
There's the school adequacy formula,
okay,
that decides what the amount is, and then that gets adjusted based upon number of students that you have that are special ed students, English language learners qualifying for free and reduced lunch and mm-hmm. breakfast and that sort of thing. And then there's a cap that says that towns that have a great number of these students currently may not receive more than 140% than they would otherwise, absent of those adjustments. We propose in the budget that the governor has vetoed to increase that cap to 160% soon, so that those towns that do struggle with a great number of students with additional needs would get more money. But we also propose to lift and remove the cap entirely in 2018. So that will help cities and towns. We've also done some creative work with bonding to lower debt load. Excuse me, not lower debt load, lower the interest rate, so that in performing that debt load, we can save some money and dedicated that money to more roads and bridges. The block grants are there for cities and towns.
So the block grants were in the budget that got vetoed?
No, they're in the budget that got vetoed as well. Yeah, so. Absolutely. So there's stuff in there that would be very beneficial to the cities and towns in District 8 and for every city or town in the state of New Hampshire that they're just going to have to wait to get. And it looks like we're really not going to have the information we need to get serious about the discussions until sometime in late September or early October. So Frankly, the next 6 months, I wouldn't counsel anybody to expect that they'll see the benefit of the really good budget that we wrote because the governor's decided to veto it.
Okay, we're going to stop right there.